Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go.
This is a rebroadcast of BK on the Air. If you hear a telephone number, please don't call, as you will become one with the dark side of the Force.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
The Force will be with you, always.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Yeah, I tell you, it's really fun when you revisit. BK on the Air, by the way. We're sitting in the studio. Alan was out last week, but he's back today. We're sitting in here talking about how frustrating it was for us, anyway, as sons to a dutiful parent or whatever, to try to explain the difference between the old problem that we have. What started the conversation? I said we're talking about widescreen movies.
Yeah, widescreen movies that I would always rent, the VHS
But what made us
widescreen.
go into that? We were talking about something before that. It was some kind of technology that someone wasn't understanding or something. It's about as bad as trying to explain this to your parents about.
Because we were talking about my wife trying for the first time VR goggles.
The VR thing, that's right. That's what led us into that. It's like new technology or something, trying to explain it to someone or someone's experiencing it. And by the way, it was hard for both of us, and that's why we were talking about it. And I want to say this at the beginning of the show because we were, it's nostalgic. I mean, it's kind of a technology thing that we're talking about. We spent a long time trying to talk to our parents, and I'm sure Chance did too, when they're watching a movie, and they're watching it letterbox, widescreen, like it was shot originally to be seen in the theater, how they are not missing picture on the screen. It's just trying to fit a rectangle into a square. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they just didn't get that, right? No. Didn't you hate that?
It was always the same thing that you were talking about when we were chatting. They thought they're missing, like, well, there's stuff that's supposed to be in the black stuff.
In the upper and bottom part.
Like,
yeah, it's
because
not filling up my screen.
The movie was this wide, and so you have to kind of set it back a little to be able to see it all.
There's a reason that you're missing stuff on the top and the bottom. They didn't shoot anymore up at the bottom and the top there. It's like,
and my dad used to go, well, I don't like that. I want to fill up my whole screen. I was like, oh.
And eventually you and I just throw our hands up and go, fine, just go ahead.
You know, it's not an issue now with today's TVs.
But there's a whole new issue now.
The old school with the tube, yes,
but it opens a whole new can of worms now with wrong aspect ratios on their televisions now that they set
the
wrong.
Zoom feature has been
like, it's a never-ending battle of truth and justice and trying to describe what
I told you this before my dad passed away. He was watching something, and so he put it in Zoom to fill the whole screen.
Sure.
But then he forgot it was in Zoom and went to the Weather Channel. He's like, did you know the Weather Channel doesn't put the bottom scroll anymore? I'm like,
it's missing.
What are you talking about? Because they got rid of it.
See, it's a whole
new problem. What do you mean they didn't get rid of it?
Alan, did your family have Laserdisc?
I'm like, Dad, no, they didn't actually.
We had Laserdisc.
Skip that.
Yeah.
I said, Dad, just go back to normal 16 by 9.
Just don't even worry.
It's like, oh, well, why did they do that? I'm like, because you changed it the last time. They didn't do it to you. They didn't take over your remote, Dad, and change it when you were not looking.
Right.
No one, I believe somebody broke into my house and changed the aspect ratio on my TV, and that's all they did.
It was little elves.
Just to mess with me.
It was elves. I eventually just gave up.
Now.
I just gave up.
Barry, what about Gremlins? We talked about this off air.
I just eventually just gave up because I'm like,
tell the listeners about Gremlins.
Yeah,
the release of
Gremlins. That's right. We were talking about that today before we went on the air. I don't know if Alan knows this, but Alan, when Joe Dante, when Gremlins was first released on videotape, which used to be the first thing everything came out on because that's all we had at the time, It was always widescreen because I think he insisted that movie be in widescreen, even on videotape when it came out. So I think every copy of Gremlins is floating around out there as widescreen. And I'm like, way to go, Joe Dante. I'm all for that. I mean, that's the correct way the director intended for the movie to be seen.
It's Panavision.
And as Laserdisc people, before DVDs came out, almost every Laserdisc was widescreen because they just knew people are interested if they're going to buy this beautiful format for movies to be seen and read by a laser, if they're going to want it in its original aspect ratio too. So Laserdiscs were big on that. And I used to be so bad because I would rent Laserdiscs. Used to be a store down off 41 in Marietta called
Laserdisc Enterprises.
Yep. How do you know that? He's reading my mind.
No, I rented from
there. He went there too. And when I couldn't buy the Laserdiscs, I would rent them and put them on tape. And they would be widescreen on tape. And they'd be great copies from Laserdisc. They'd be really nice copies.
They're still around, too. They rebranded themselves as Georgia Home Theater.
Well, cool. I mean, I'm glad they had to rebrand themselves because companies that don't rebrand themselves go out of business. But, yeah, I just wanted to get that in this morning because we were talking about that earlier. And it was
funny.
And it was – it's probably like go back to the 40s, the late 40s and early 50s of someone who has just bought a new television set back in the day trying to explain it to their parents what it is. Yeah. It's like, no, it's this little thing you could turn on and watch shows. Really? I don't want that newfangled weirdo thing in my living room. Give me my AM radio. I want to listen to the radio chapter plays. Yeah. Or something. So it's just the way things change. And I'm sure when you and I return 80, I know we love technology and we embrace new things. I'm sure when we turn 80 or 90, hey, I'm planning on making it that long. There will be things that we don't understand and will be made fun of.
I'm sure. I struggle, though, because on the technology side, I want to always be up to date because I'm so fascinated by it. But I even told my wife, because she said, well, what kind of VR rig should we get? Because
VR is a whole different thing.
There was no discussion in our house about VR because that was techie and that was only for you because you want to play your video games. I don't play video games. So all of a sudden, she went to the Van Gogh experience.
Show it to them.
And she said, I want to know more about VR. I was like, yay! But now I realize I haven't really been keeping up with the VR rig. So now I'm going to have to go educate myself because I don't know what's the best rig to have. Should I get a PS4 one? Should I wait for the PS5 and go with that? Or should I do one for my PC? So now I get to do some research, but at least I'm going to enjoy this one.
The Van Gogh's experience is great. We went to see it. And I'll tell everyone out there, if the Van Gogh Experience Tour comes to your town or your city or wherever you are, anywhere close to you, go check it out because the man was an amazing artist. You get to get an insight as to who he was and how he was. He was a little. He had short a few pieces of bread in his loaf.
He was schizophrenic and suffered depression and
problems. And I did not know that he shot himself in a hospital or an asylum somewhere, something like that. And I'm like, wow, I learned a lot about him. And when you look at his stuff, you're like, yeah, it's amazing. And there is a VR experience. Pay the extra and do the VR part of it because it's really cool. It takes you on a tour of where he grew up and where he's from. And I don't want to spoil it, but as you're walking through this VR experience or feel like you're walking through it, you're you're on the countryside and you see the house he was born and you walk around. And every now and then the arrows, if you're looking behind you or something like you can in VR, there are arrows that point you to go, hey, look this way.
Look to your right.
Because as you're walking up, they're going to show you a painting of his and zoom into it and talk about it and then go back on the walk. It's an amazing experience to check out. So another funny thing to do if you have a chance.
One-eared wonder.
He is, yeah. He wouldn't be able to hear. Well, I don't think it bothered his hearing. I don't think he was deaf. He just kind of cut part of it off. Yeah, I started to say he couldn't hear stereo today, but he still could. He could hear with both ears, I think. He just did what he would just be freaked out by it because he was kind of, he was a little schizophrenic.
He had definite mental health problems.
Talk about VR and virtual reality. If you get a chance, go on Facebook. Go on YouTube and search for older or elderly people experience VR for the first time. And it's not making fun of them, but it is making fun of them. Watch them experience these things because they do. They start jumping around and running around and falling in the living room. None of them get seriously hurt or anything. And there's another one where people face their fears on VR, like spiders and things come into the room. It's therapeutic for a lot of people. And one had a man who was suffering from Alzheimer's, and he was in the hospital. And they put a VR on him and let him experience going like on an aerial trip through Italy and the European coastline, and it affected him, and it was really awesome to see that. So you can get out when you can't get out. That's another thing I think that it's going to be great for it to be used for, is people who can't go anywhere can kind of go somewhere and experience it. It's BK on the Air. We got the Golden Age of TV and more when we come back.
We'll return after these messages.
Wednesday on 8 is Enough, the kids are all alone. When the a mysterious stranger arrives out of the storm.
Phone's dead.
And Charlie's Angels disco the night away. But it ends up a dance of death. Then, Dan rides with outlaw bikers. Chase down a gang of motorcycle on Vegas.
Watch Wednesday on ABC.
They sure work hard, don't they, Barney? Yeah? I hate to see them work so hard. Yeah, me too. Let's go around back where we can't see them. Gee, we ought to do something, Fred. Okay. How's about taking a nap? Hey, I got a better idea. Let's take a Winston break. That's it. Winston is the one filter cigarette that delivers flavor 20 times a pack. Winston's got that filter blend. Yeah, Fred. Filter blend makes the big taste difference, and only Winston has it up front where it counts. Here, ahead of the pure white filter. Winston packs rich tobaccos specially selected and specially processed for good flavor in filter smoking. Yeah, Barney, Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Night Court ran 9 seasons from 1984 to 92 for a total of 193 episodes. Harry Anderson, who played Judge Harry Stone, first established his showbiz career not as an actor, but as a comedic magician. This act scored him multiple appearances on Saturday Night Live and The Tonight Show. Also around this time, he developed his acting skills with a recurring role on Cheers, playing Harry the Hat. Reportedly, Night Court creator Reinhold Weege said it was pure coincidence that the character Anderson was to play was also named Harry. And even more so, that Anderson and the Judge Harry Stone character were both huge fans of Mel Torme, a.k.a. the Velvet Fog. It's also said that when this legendary singer was made aware he was being referenced on the hit show, he was deeply flattered. So when the producers called on him to be a guest star, Mel didn't hesitate to accept. This exposed Torme to a younger television audience, many of whom began attending his live shows. According to Mel, this actually had the effect of reinvigorating his concert career. Another interesting fact for us classic TV fans was that Night Court featured some legendary guest stars from the small screen. These included the likes of John Astin, Ray Walston, Key Luke, Della Reese, Lou Ferrigno, and more. The show was nominated for a total of 31 Emmys, ultimately winning 7. 4 consecutive wins went to the great John Larroquette as the hilarious yet devious prosecutor Dan Fielding. At the time, this was an Emmy Award win record, so out of modesty and much unlike his classic character on the show, John requested to have himself removed from the nomination eligibility list. Now that's what I call some Night Court class. This is Pat McCormick with your Retro TV trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. You can also find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Golden Rage of TV and on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV1. And now back to BK on the Air.
WBHF in Cartersville.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the Air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. Thank you, Pat McCormick, for that story about Night Court, the TV show.
2 words, Marquee Post.
Marquee Post.
And also, they're going to reboot Night Court. I'll watch it, but I have a bad feeling about this.
Isn't it supposed to be the judge's daughter?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah,
there you go. Thanks, Han.
What do you do?
Han weighs in.
That's right. Well, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I hear the redo of He-Man has people split in the Masters universe.
I haven't started to watch it. The trailer was cool. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, the trailer was great. I know it's Kevin Smith doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I said, okay, so he's captured the feel of the He-Man cartoon animation-wise, but where are you going to go story-wise? That's what I'm waiting to see. I haven't watched it. I mean, it's already out, isn't it?
It came out last Friday.
It's getting bad reviews.
Is it getting bad reviews?
Didn't
Kevin Smith worked on it and wrote it.
I wonder if He-Man's really nice-looking relative is going to be in it. She-Ra, the Princess of Power. Remember her?
I remember She-Ra.
Cartoon? Well, we played a little bit of ZZ Top coming back from the break there, and I got a story here. And I want to talk ZZ Top because we're all fans of ZZ Top in this room.
Yeah.
And depending on what era of ZZ Top you like, there's camps that are split on that I was unaware of until I did a little research this week after Dusty Hill, the ZZ Top bassist, passed away at 72. Billy Gibbons and Frank Beard of the Texas-based trio issued a statement to Fox News, writing, and this is from Fox News, quote, "We are saddened by the news that our compadre, Dusty Hill, has passed away in his sleep at home in Houston, Texas. We, along with the legions of ZZ Top fans around the world, will miss your steadfast presence, your good nature, and enduring commitment to providing that monumental bottom to the top. We will forever be connected with that blues shuffle in C," unquote. "You'll be greatly missed, amigo," the statement also added. Hill was a longtime member of the Texas blues rock band for over 50-plus years. Now, no cause of death was given at the time. Hill had been dealing with health concerns related to a hip issue as recently as this past Friday. The band revealed, adding that they were awaiting a speedy recovery and hoping to have him back pronto, they said. Quote, "The members of ZZ Top, Billy and Frank, would like to share that Dusty, their fearless bass leader, is on a short detour back to Texas to address a hip issue," the Facebook post read while he was still dealing with that. Per Dusty's request, the show must go on. Listen to this. With that directive, ZZ Top has now put the services of Mr. Elwood Francis, their trusted guitar tech of the past 2 decades, into play with his slide guitar, bass guitar, and harmonica playing in full swing, unquote. So they were, even at the time, Dusty wanted them to keep touring, use this guy as a bass player and keep going, you know. One of the original founding members of ZZ Top, the Dallas-born instrument player, cut his chops, Dusty Hill, on the cello in high school. He played the cello. People who are musical usually are just musical anyway. It's amazing how they do that. Who was I reading an interview with not too long ago? Oh, Peter Cetera. Remember the lead singer from Chicago, Peter Cetera? He started out on the accordion. And someone asked him once, I'm getting sidetracked here. Someone asked Peter Cetera in an interview once, "Well, why did you switch from playing the accordion? Did you not like it?" He goes, "Well, you know, I can get more chicks with rock. I can't get a lot of chicks." These are his words, playing the accordion. I'd rather be in a rock band. Dusty Hill, along with his guitarist brother Rocky and Beard, played locally in bands including the Warlocks, the Cellar Dwellers, and American Blues. So he'll be missed. Dusty Hill from ZZ Top, dead at 72. And it's kind of shocking to hear that because, again, I didn't know there's anything wrong with him. Sometimes you hear a celebrity's death. Sometimes you hear about it for weeks because they're ill. You know, they're battling cancer. They're doing something or whatever in the hospital or something bad. But when they're out of the blue, they kind of go, "Oh, wow, so-and-so passed away." And we don't know him personally, but we feel close to them because we have a connection, either with acting or celebrity status or music.
Yeah, well, in the case of ZZ Top, much like with Rush and some other bands, they were part of the soundtrack of my teen years, so they stuck with me the rest of my life.
And music videos, too. When the Eliminator album came out, Give Me All Your Lovin', I love the spin guitar move. But I like some of their more obscure songs. I've seen them in concert a couple times, and I love a song called Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers and Party on the Patio. And every time I saw them in concert, which is 3 times, I always hoped they played one of those songs. They never did. And those are some of their best songs, in my opinion.
They were. And the ZZ Top fans are split on some of them are like, "Oh, well, I like the first album in the 70s, the more blues toned down sound." But then they came along in 83 and did an album called Eliminator, and that all changed for them because they changed and made it sound a little more electronic. They put in some swishes and swirls and
the car
and used a drum machine to help, like a drum recorded beat to help them augment their music.
They really did, though, use MTV like a lot of groups did. There were so many groups that didn't know how to use MTV when it first came out. And there's an entire great documentary series about the invention of the music video and how bands that probably would have never gotten airplay, but because they had slick videos and people wanted to watch them, became popular because of the videos. And the theme of the chop top car, the 3 guys disappearing and reappearing, almost like the 3 fates helping the people in the stories, like Legs, the guy that can't get the girl, or the sharp dressed man, like. they're always like, "Hey, we're here for we're
Right.
here for you.
We're here to be in the video to point. That's what we're here for.
We show up. We make your life better. We move on. We're David Banner, but instead of the Hulk breaking things, we still leave you feeling better.
And we have fur on our guitars and we spin them, and that's our thing. And it worked for them. It worked so well.
It was entertaining.
They did it. It was great. Do you guys remember they were the band at the party at Back to the Future. Back to the Future.
Yeah,
they were the band. They were the
because
band
they did their spin move even in that.
But what about the Gillette story where Gillette offered them big money to shave off their beards, and they said, "No way, that's our shtick."
That's right. And Shtick was another razor company. Sorry, Chance, you left that hanging. I had to pick that up.
I thought that was out there on purpose.
Here we go. Let's go through let me run through the albums. ZZ Top's was called first album. 1971 was called ZZ Top's first album. That's what they called it. Some bands did that, and it was great. We got Rio Grande Mud from 72, Tres Hombres from 73, Fandango, which was like a half live, half studio album from 75. Tejas came next. Diego was the 1979 album. That's the album that got me interested in ZZ Top was Diego because it had Just Got Paid on it today and Maniac Mechanic, which is one of my favorite ZZ Top songs. El Loco came in 81. El Loco is the album that came out in 81 that had Tube State Boogie and Pearl Necklace. That's the one where they started to transition into that 80s sound. That's all I'm going to say about those songs. That's all I'm going to say.
Both those songs are fantastic.
They are great songs.
They are fantastic.
But that's the album where they did that change. Then come 83 was Eliminator. Legs, Sharp Dressed Man. That's the one that really shot them to the top. And rightfully so because it's a great album. Next up is an album which is actually my favorite ZZ Top album, and that's Afterburner. To me, Afterburner took Eliminator and took it up a step further. It's The Empire Strikes Back, to me, of those three albums in a row.
Well, literally, on the album cover, they're in space.
Great.
It's a space shuttle.
Car
it's
has
no longer
space
a
shuttle
car,
wings.
it's a space shuttle.
But it has their car front end on it, though, with the headlights, and it's kind of turning and twisting. Great cover, too, by the way. And then they followed that up with Recycler, which, to me, that's the trio album, the trilogy. You got Eliminator, Afterburner, then Recycler. They actually kind of sound. You could listen to all three of those albums on a mix together, and they would sound like they actually came maybe from one album because it sounds so great through there. Then they went on with they did Antenna. It took them 4 years to bring one out after 1990. It was Antenna 1994, which to me was a great album as well because it had a great song in it called Pincushion, and I thought that was another great ZZ Top song. And they had 4 more albums after that. Triple X 1999, and La Futura came out in 2012, and it had a great song on it called I Gots to Get Paid was the name of the song, and it was just classic ZZ Top fare, much like AC/DC or maybe name another group, Boston. Those are the guys where the minute you put that song starts, I don't know if it's a ballad or a hard rockin' or a blues song, you could go on the game show, name that tune, and go, I can name that tune in 3 seconds. The first 3 or 4 notes, you're like, that's ZZ Top. I can tell that's Billy Gibbons. That's ZZ Top right there.
What rotten timing, though, for Dusty to bite the dust in the middle of a tour. They're at the tail end of a tour. Do you think they're done, guys, by the way? Do you think?
Not according to that news story you read.
No, according to that statement, I think that they're going to continue on. I think they're going to continue on with somebody else.
I think that's a mistake. But
I know, because if the guy wants you to do it, then how can it be a mistake? I mean, I would disagree with that, because if he says, listen, carry on without me before he passes away even and he's sick, how could you not do it?
That's a good point.
I would go on in honor of his memory.
Okay.
And I will say this, even if you change to rebrand, Rush, Alex Lifeson, and Geddy Lee have said, look, we're not going to be Rush, but we are still planning to make music.
Without Neil on the drums.
Barry Gibb is now touring as the lone Bee Gee with his daughter or one of their daughters. I can't remember who, and he's still doing Bee Gee songs. You have to keep going. Sometimes giving up is the horrible thing when you do it.
It won't be the same.
It's maybe not. Be calm there. We'll be back.
We'll return after these messages.
Sure, Sir Isaac Newton unraveled the mysteries of gravity. But could he have unraveled the mysteries of Rubik's Cube? 3 weeks ago, Judge Smith retired to her chambers with Exhibit A, Rubik's Cube. She hasn't been seen since. Warning, once you get your hands on Rubik's Cube, you may never be able to put it down. Rubik's Cube. Over 3 billion combinations, but just one solution from Ideal.
Watch us make your food fresh at Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Make you feel your taste buds tingle. Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Watch us make you a burrito or a tasty enchilada. Tostadas and tacos made up fresh at Taco Bell. Put a smile on your face. Taco Bell. Everybody loves the taste. Taco Bell. 'Cause we're the fresh food place. Taco Bell.
bastards! Why are you torturing me like this? Why?
Message by ZZ Top, that's right. Be down there here. We're having a good time this morning, remembering the bassist, Dusty Hill from ZZ Top, who passed away. Nothing like the little ZZ Top. I do hope the band continues on in his memory and keeps touring. There's still, like, you know how you can go on YouTube and look at stuff by artists and stuff? There's still a link, I think, on their YouTube page where you can go down and click, and it says click here for tickets. They haven't taken it down, so I don't know if I guess they're touring maybe in the future or put it on hold or whatever, but they're still going to go strong. ZZ Top will still be around no matter what, but it's time that we flash the audience of the news, the weird, the strange, and the bizarre.
And guess what? I have the first
Chicken
news.
Every time I still do that from a kid. Guess what? Chicken butt.
Well, according to the UPI, tollway officials in Texas said they are trying to find the owner of an unusual piece of debris rescued from the side of a highway.
A piece of debris?
Well, apparently,
Debris.
the North Texas Tollway Authority said workers during a cleanup project on the side of the Dallas North Tollway in Frisco spotted a white box on the side of the road that contained the dress. The Tollway Authority posted a photo of the white dress and the train on Twitter in hopes of finding the owner. Now, Ray, according to this, Ray said documents inside the box indicate the dress was boxed more than 20 years ago.
Really?
But the papers didn't provide many other clues pointing to the identity of the owner. He said the authority will hold the dress for at least 90 days while officials try to find the owner.
Where are we going? No, don't tell me. Let me guess. We are a bride in search of a wedding.
No.
No?
There is a wedding in search of a bride.
Wow, that's
it was
cool.
Somebody lost a wedding dress 20 plus years ago.
So they didn't get mad and just fling it out of the window because they're riding down a road with a guy with a Trans Am. This was lost a long time ago.
That's what you do with T-tops.
I test drove a car with T-tops back in the 80s. I said a friend of mine wanted to sell me his Cutlass Oldsmobile, and it had T-tops in it, and I just thought that was the thing, man. I'm like, this is great. He's like, and it was a selling thing too. He's like, listen, it has T-tops, but it's okay. It doesn't leak when you go through the car wash and when the train, because apparently they had problems with that with those over time.
Do you realize my mom and dad to this day, well, not my dad, but wouldn't buy a car with a sunroof because they said, oh yeah, those always leak. I'm like, no, they don't.
Not always.
Not now. Maybe when they were first put in and they didn't know, but
right.
Now, whatever. Some people get set in their ways.
My dad was a little scared about buying convertibles, especially, because when you look at a convertible car and they've got the top down, unless it's a sports car or a Jeep or something, some of them have behind the seats metal roll bars that come up in case your car turns over. Mm-hmm. Well, regular just convertible cars, it's just a windshield when you got the convertible off. And that car flips over in an accident, you're probably going to be trapped or you're going to be dead if you flip over. But, life's a gamble anyway, so who cares? That's why we buy insurance or don't buy it, right? Yeah. So who knows? I got the next news. From UPI, Guinness World Records confirms a New York man successfully set a record for the longest table tennis serve, or as I like to call it, ping pong. I guess it's according to where you were from in the United States, whether you said table tennis
That's
or
whether
ping
you're playing
pong.
a fun thing or a sport.
Right. Well, I played ping pong.
Yeah, exactly. I was
not good at it.
I was always
I
playing
loved it.
ping pong.
Yeah. Now listen to this. Eric Finkelstein, or Finkelstein, depending on what you believe in, took on the world record this month at the Winchester Table Tennis or Ping Pong Center in Pleasantville. Finkelstein made 3 attempts for the record, surpassing the previous record, which was 14 feet 9 inches. His final attempt was talk about busting it. Okay, 14 feet 9 inches is nothing to sneeze at for a ping pong serve, right? That's pretty good. Mm-hmm. His was 51 feet 1 inch.
I'd say he surpassed.
I say it, and that one may hold. That one may stand for a while. The former competitive table tennis player said that he received word Monday that his record from July the 11th has been approved by Guinness. He says, I feel euphoric and relieved. I'm like, okay, I guess he felt happy and he went to the bathroom.
He went to the bathroom.
I don't know one way or the other. That was kind of cool. Finkelstein or Finkelstein. I don't know which one.
I've got the next.
It's ping pong. Sorry.
I've got the next news. Residents of Texas and nearby states captured video of an overnight fireball that glowed bright as it streaked across the sky.
That song, you know what Fireball, that song reminds me? Who sung that? Pitbull?
Pitbull.
You know who that'll always remind me of cruising on the cruise ship, because we heard that and the crew was dancing to it and everything. I'm trying to distract Chance, and he's not looking up from that page. He's keeping his place. Hey, Chance, look over here. Look at this. Sorry, go ahead.
He's fixated.
The American Meteor Society logged at least 213 reports of a fireball Sunday night with
fireball.
We have to say it. I'm sorry.
Aren't we supposed to take a shot?
Yeah, fireball shot. Is that the cinnamon one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It burns. Burns the throat.
That's nice.
With sightings reported in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Missouri. The
fireball,
believed to be a large meteor, was caught on video by dashboard cameras and doorbell cameras in Texas. Some witnesses reported hearing a loud booming sound that accompanied the spectacle. Emergency responders in Rockwell, Texas said there were unconfirmed reports that a portion of the object hit the ground near a rural road.
That's awesome.
Make sure you don't have you don't want to have Mr. King out there poking at it, wondering what's coming out of there.
Meteor shit.
That's what it was. From
what's all this stuff all over my hand?
Creep show. That's fine. I got the last news. Police and firefighters in Colorado ended up in an unusual high-speed chase when 4 horses escaped from a rodeo and went for a run on the interstate. The Colorado State Patrol said a horse in a makeshift corral at the Eagle County Fairgrounds, which was hosting its annual fair and rodeo, knocked down a board, helping to contain the animals, and 4 horses fled. The horses took to the Interstate 70, eastbound and down on ramp, and went running on the highway, where they were spotted by the Gypsum Fire Department district's chief. The chief followed the horses for 3 miles while the state police and the Eagle Police Department stopped traffic and joined the chase. Trooper Jacob Best said the chase lasted for about 20 to 30 minutes before the horses were safely loaded into a trailer. Now, the four horsemen riding the pale, white, red, and black horses, that's Mr. War, Famine, Pestilence, and Mr. Death, are said to be waiting to have their horses returned to them as soon as possible. So I just added that at the end.
Yeah, we the 4 horsemen ride.
Check and see what's going on.
I like my story the best. The fireball story.
Well, that was nice. Fireball. And Chance reads it like an old news guy. He's like, and they also was quoted to saying this, and the Hindenburg is coming in. BK on the Air. We'll be back with more. Or will we? We'll find out.
It's 0 hour. Their mission? To boldly go where no band has gone before. ZZ Top are back. Their new album, Afterburner, out now.
Gather round the Jiffy Pop. Gather round the Jiffy Pop. The Jiffy Pop.
The Jiffy Pop.
Gather round the Jiffy Pop. The family fun treat.
And here's great fun, a Jungle Book Magic Picture Kit, free in specially marked packages of Jiffy Pop popcorn. Each kit's a different scene from Walt Disney Productions' full-length feature, Jungle Book. 4 fun scenes in all.
Here comes the Jiffy Pop. Fresh, hot, and delicious every time because you make it yourself. Gather round the Jiffy Pop. The family fun treat.
New from K-Tel Records, 22 explosive hits, 22 original stars, Gallery.
Oh, it's so nice to be with you.
The great Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, the Candyman can.
Olivia Newton-John.
If not for you.
Hamilton, Joe, Frank, and Reynolds.
Don't pour your love out on me.
Derek and the Dominoes' big hit, Layla. Osmonds, Detroit Emeralds, Millie Jackson, Flash, April Wine, Charlotte's, Pop Tops, Fortune.
Here comes that rainy day feeling again.
Joe Simon.
You've got power in your kiss.
Lobo.
Possible man.
Hot Butters, Popcorn. And many more. Get K-Tel's 22 explosive hits now. 22 original stars and 1 great stereo LP. Only $3.99.
For some reason or another, you sounded a little taller on radio.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. Hey, there's a new bicycle shop in Cartersville right here. Cartersville Bicycle Service and Supply. And did you know if you go there this month, you can buy an adult bicycle at regular cost and get a kid's bike for 50% off. This includes all bicycles with 20-inch wheels and smaller. And I told everybody last week that doesn't mean you get like half a bike. Or you can't ride it. It's a whole bike, but you get it half off the price. Now, both bikes must be purchased at the same time. And remember, Cartersville Bicycle offers maintenance and repair, if you need to get it fixed, of all bicycles as well as parts and accessories. Whether you're a veteran, old, seasoned, citizen rider like myself, or just starting out, Cartersville Bicycle has what you need to get out and enjoy the roads and trails of Northwest Georgia or wherever you happen to want to ride. Stop in and see the shop. They're located at the corner of West Avenue and South Tennessee Street right here in Cartersville, and they're open 7 days a week, so there's no excuse for you not to go by. It's 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. are their hours. Call them at 470-315-BIKE. That's 470-315-2453, or search for Cartersville Bicycle on Facebook. I've noticed that I'm there now. I am now 55 years old. I'm double nickel. 55. I used to call it on CB for your speedometer, your speed limit. Double nickel.
Why are you admitting that?
Well, I like to have full disclosure on my show to people that are listening. Why not? I don't. Turning 50 was the problem. I'm like, I'm going to 49. I'm going to turn 50 years old. But now I've noticed that when I go order things, it says discount for those 55 and older. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want it.
You're
I don't want
a senior citizen.
I'll pay full price.
But
I'll
you're
pay
not.
full price. I don't care.
I want to know, when did that happen?
I don't. I thought it was 65.
Is it just to get more dues? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? To try to get more people signed up to get their little newsletter and be part of that club?
Part of me don't. I don't like it.
I got the thing at 50 that said, you're eligible now for the AARP. I'm like,
I don't want it.
I'm still working. First of all, it says American Association for Retired Persons.
Right. It's
I am not retired.
No, I don't fit that criteria. 770-386-1450.
I don't even say that when I'm going to bed. I'm going to retire.
Somebody's on the line right now. Hey, hello, who's this? It's BK on the air.
Y'all gonna get a good laugh out of me.
Okay, sure.
All right. Dusty Hill.
No,
No idea until he passed away the other day that he was a real person.
You didn't know that was his name?
No, I didn't, because there was an episode of King of the Hill, and ZZ Top was on there, and Dusty was supposed to be Hank's brother.
Right. That's right.
So I thought they just made it up.
And you thought it was made up?
Yep.
Well, Jeff, were you a ZZ Top fan? I bet you were, or are.
Well, there was a few songs I liked. I went from different. I went like rock in the 70s, and then into country and all different kinds.
We went all over the place. Well, we're gonna talk about probably our favorite ZZ Top song when we just listen to us coming up, and we might hit on the one that you like too. There was a lot of them, but thanks, buddy. Always appreciate hearing from you.
Yes, sir. Carry on.
Yes, sir. If I had to choose, and I want to, maybe we can choose three. The three songs that I love by ZZ Top, and there's so many to choose from.
Oh, yeah.
If I was on an island and they're like, well, you're not going to get rescued unless you tell us your three favorite ZZ Top songs. I'm like, okay. If I have to say three favorite songs, one of them will be Maniac Mechanic. I love that song. I also love Just Got Paid is a wonderful, awesome song by the Duego album from '79. And when I first heard, and like I said before, my favorite album, too, you guys can chime in on this, too, with all of that. My favorite album by them is Afterburner. I mean, I know some people don't like that synthesized turn that they made in the 80s, but when I used to ride around in the 80s and listen to music, I would play Afterburner. I just put the album on because back then I had a cassette of it at the time. I had a 1978 Dodge Colt. Was my first car that I actually financed through a bank. Bought a little 1978 Dodge Colt. You know the kind of car that had 4 cylinders back then? But back then it was a 4-cylinder car in 78. When you turned the air conditioner on, you went from you lost 50% of your horsepower.
Right.
That was the old technology, and it was.
We're getting on the interstate. Got to turn the air off for a second, guys.
Or going up a hill, forget about it. If I'm going down a hill, I can turn it on. But I would roll those windows down because it didn't have an air conditioner. It would blow vent air, which was at least better than nothing. It would blow hot air. So I had the 260 air conditioner, two windows down at 60 miles an hour. And I can remember vividly riding around with Afterburner playing in the cassette player. And I loved it, and it reminds me so much of 1985, 86, riding around. And that's what my third favorite song is from Afterburner, and it's Sleeping Bag. It's the first song on the album, and it starts out and it sets the whole tone for that album, which is great.
The single.
Those are my three, I guess. If I had to pick three, that's my three favorites. Alan, do you have a favorite album and song by ZZ Top?
I think Eliminator was my first, and I loved it so much.
1983, yeah.
I thought Afterburner was good, too. I just, for some reason, Eliminator was the one. I think probably because I was seeing the Legs video on MTV.
Oh, yeah.
And
during puberty.
Yeah, exactly. It was prime time. I'm watching Raiders, I'm watching Poltergeist, and I'm watching MTV. I mean, that's it. My whole world is formed at that point. Tush is probably my all-time favorite. I'm just looking for some Tush.
Good song. Yeah.
I love that song. Yep. But Gimme All Your Lovin' is probably one of their best of the 80s songs.
That's from Eliminator, too, isn't it? Yeah.
Gimme All Your Lovin'. I love that song. Gosh, it's hard because there's so many good ones. I am stuck in the 80s, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. That's nothing wrong with that.
I do think Legs. Legs was the first song I ever heard by them, and I've always loved that song.
Would you say Eliminator is your favorite album by them?
I think so.
Wow, and that's good. If you've never checked it out, too, before we get to you, Chance, there's a guy, there's a lot of people that have their YouTube channels, and we even have one at BK on the Air. But YouTube channels, there's a guy that his handle on YouTube, his channel name is called Sea of Tranquility. He's a guy named Sea of Tranquility, and if you never check him out, what he likes to do is he likes to count down his favorite. He'll take every album by an artist, pop, rock, mostly rock and roll, and he'll count down his favorite album, or his least favorite, down to his number one. And this is a earmark of a good reviewer and a guy who has a great way of communicating and the way of presenting it. Even when I don't agree with his order of an album from a group, he'll present it to me in a way that he believes is the facts and how he likes it. And I'm like, oh, he explained why he likes this album and it's number one, and that's not my number one album, but I can see why it's his number one, and it makes sense. He's just not the guy that goes, well, my number one album by them is blah, 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 and if everyone else disagrees with me, they're wrong, so blah. So, and he moves on. He's not that type of guy. He's a really good reviewer. And what's bad is I was like, I need to look at his ZZ Top album rating. So I watched it last night. Sea of Tranquility is his name. Check him out on YouTube. He comes up with he ranked every ZZ Top album. I'm like, where does Sea Tranquility puts the ZZ Top albums? Let me find out. So his least favorite album of ZZ Top was Afterburner. I'm like, no, why did he put that one there? He was much more in the camp of the 70s ZZ Top, the era where they're very bluesy, very unplugged. Well, not unplugged, but the more toned down bluesy rock, dirty sounding Texas blues stuff. He was much more into that. But and his favorite album was Tres Hombres, which is a lot of people's. If you look at Rolling Stone and everything, that's a lot of people's favorite album.
That's why I like "Gimme All Your Loving" so much, because it's that perfect bridge. It still plays homage to that blues and the messaging. It still had enough of the '80s sound. It wasn't so synth pop,
right?
And it's still one that you hear today.
Check him out. But he's Sea of Tranquility. So we come to Chance. Chance, you're a ZZ Top fan too. Give us your thoughts on ZZ Top.
I like the older stuff, and I recommend a 3 compact disc set from 1990. It's called Six Pack, and it's got the first 6 albums of ZZ Top, and that's in my collection. If you still listen to compact discs, fortunately, my car does have a compact disc player. My favorite songs, I've mentioned 2 of them already. I'll say them again: "Party on the Patio," "Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers," and "Sharp Dressed Man." I agree with Alan on that point from Eliminator.
Great songs.
But Party on the Patio has a great beat. Everyone swinging low. There's a party on the patio. Check it out. It's a great song.
Chance doing ZZ Top.
Well,
not very well.
We're not going to try to sing it.
Yeah. Notice we're not.
Everybody turn it off if they're listening.
Let's face it, they're not great singers themselves.
Well, it's the
music
but
that
they
we
are
love
great,
about
and
ZZ,
even
the guitar.
And the older that Billy Gibbons gets, the more grungier his voice gets. It's all gravelly and sounding, but it suits their music.
It was totally yes, absolutely
when it does that. So great stuff about ZZ Top. The bassist Dusty Hill, he will be missed, and a lot of people say that. They're like who was it? Someone else on YouTube was saying, "Oh, they're just like AC/DC. They sound the same all the time." I'm like, well, don't confuse sounding the same all the time with just a familiar way someone is because they're a group. I don't really agree with that.
That's the difference in saying like Rush has the Rush sound, but I would argue they don't all sound the same.
No, lame analogy.
They don't.
You have different lead singers like Bon Scott and then Brian Johnson and AC/DC. That's a different sound. Give me a break.
Right. But there is a guy that did a sample video on YouTube. Another YouTube thing where he goes, "Hey, did you know every AC/DC song ends the same?" I'm like, what is this video? So I kind of watched it, and he kind of stringed like several AC. He just played the last 3 seconds of like 8 or 9 or 10 AC/DC songs, and they end almost exactly the same.
Angus is on the guitar,
cool.
baby.
Yeah.
Well, it's because that's the AC/DC sound.
And I'll play.
There you go.
And AC/DC usually, playing it would be much better.
Big balls.
Yes, yeah.
That's in the Brian Johnson era.
And going to a party. That's what that stands for.
Right.
That's right.
Some for fancy pleasure.
The big ones.
Others for fancy dress.
So
some even held for pleasure. Those are the ones I like best.
I found out something about Mrs. BK last night that I didn't know about. She goes, I went to see ZZ Top. I'm like, you did? When? She goes, I was back in 1990. She'd gone back in the early 90s to see them at a concert somewhere.
In Georgia? Lakewood?
Yeah, Georgia
Probably
somewhere.
Lakewood.
I don't know where she was. She'll go see a concert. She's not like us. If I go see someone, I always remember where it was. I don't know why. But she'll go, I don't remember where it was, but I saw them. And she said they put on a smoking, fantastic hot show. I'm like, of course they did. It's just great.
So did The Who.
Yeah, the Who
in concert.
They
were
asked,
always having their last tour.
And I think I said that earlier on your show, but they asked Jimi Hendrix one time who his favorite guitarist was, and he says, well, it's Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. I'm like, wow, that's a lot coming from Jimi Hendrix. If a great guitarist said you were a great guitarist or his favorite, that's pretty darn good. That's like Alfred Hitchcock. Someone asked Alfred Hitchcock what one of his favorite movies was. He goes, Smokey and the Bandit. Alfred Hitchcock loved Smokey and the Bandit. Go figure that out. That was just fine because it's a great movie. That's great. You just this is such a funny film.
Right. It would never compete with anything I've done. You never have to worry about pick one. Which do you prefer?
Great. That's right. Alfred Hitchcock's one of his favorite songs. Weekend there. We'll be back with more. Stand by.
What makes people all over America break down and cry like this? Call 1-900-9099-CRY and hear it for yourself. $2 for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. If you're under 18, ask your parents before you call. 1-900-9099-CRY.
America is on the go from Maine to the Grand Canyon with a portable radio as a traveling companion. America is on the go, Detroit to San Diego with a portable radio, a toteable, packable, portable radio.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Welcome to Star Wars Extra, bringing you the latest from the Star Wars galaxy. I'm your host, Mike Mann.
Hello there.
Reports came in last week that Industrial Light and Magic was so impressed with the deepfake version of Luke Skywalker's cameo in the Mandalorian Season 2 finale that they decided to invite the artist to join the Lucasfilm family. In the fan-made video, the artist successfully makes Mark Hamill's de-aged Luke Skywalker look even more like the young Jedi Master. The artist is only known as Shamook and has an amazing portfolio, which absolutely should be viewed on YouTube.
I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
Also this week, the child gets a new toy, as fans were treated to a new official poster by artist Russell Walks, titled Size Matters Not. In this new stunning image, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker is helping his newest Padawan, Grogu, construct a lightsaber. The picture depicts the young Yodian using his Force abilities to levitate the components of his future laser sword, while his master holds the key by forcefully levitating a yellow kyber crystal. While the masterpiece is depicted in the same tones as previous The Mandalorian posters, fans will have to wait for possibly Season 3 to see if we're treated to further insight into the build. Size Matters Not can be viewed on Twitter or practically any other form of social media.
Impressive. Most impressive.
A highly anticipated rumor was officially confirmed this week with the announcement of 2 new live-action crossovers by an insider. Rosario Dawson, who plays former Jedi Ahsoka Tano in The Mandalorian, shared a fan post via Instagram announcing that Mina Mossad and Lars Mikkelsen will be joining Dawson in the upcoming Ahsoka series. For months now, Mossad has teased this idea with cryptic comments and even a cosplay photo of himself as Ezra Bridger from the Star Wars Rebels animated series. This news is welcomed by fans as Mossad portrays Aladdin in the live-action version of that title, and the character of Ezra Bridger also bears an uncanny resemblance to Aladdin as well. As for the antagonist, Lars Mikkelsen was the voice behind the diabolical Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Rebel series. It has also been previously reported that Thrawn's mannerisms are coincidentally very close to Mikkelsen's as well. Mossad and Mikkelsen will appear presumably in the Ahsoka series, but also have the probability and likelihood of making appearances in other Star Wars titles as well.
I don't fear you. Then you will die braver than most.
And to wrap things up, this week's episode of The Bad Batch is titled War Mantle, which is a project code name first mentioned in Rogue One. In this episode, Rex contacts the crew to save a clone from the top of a secret facility. While on their mission, Clone Force 99 discovers a dark turn of events as we see yet another transition from the Republic to the young Galactic Empire. Who is the clone the team has been tasked with rescuing? What is this new evolutionary discovery the team makes? Do they complete their mission? Tune into Disney Plus for all the answers.
What the whoopers?
Before we go, I want to wish a very happy birthday to my mommy. Happy birthday, Mommy! That's all the time we have. Don't forget to check out Star Wars Extra Podcast streaming on Anchor and Spotify. As always, tune back in next week for the latest and greatest in Star Warsing. For Star Wars Extra, I'm Mike Mann, and now back to my Grand Admiral Thrawn, BK on the air.
You want to race? If you insist. And that prize I can't resist. That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's right, a little Maniac Mechanic there from Duego ZZ Top, sounding like one of those monsters, the Donruss decals. What was that, Wacky Packs? What were they called? They were hot rods stickers back in the old days that had monsters behind the wheel of these gigantic, oversized cars with giant gear shifts, and these monsters, like their teeth and stuff, were all falling out, and they were like had giant giant ears and eyes bugged out. That sounds like one of those monsters singing there. I want to ZZ Top. Channel Star Wars Extra. Thank you, Mike Mann, for that. We're celebrating ZZ Top today because their bassist, Dusty Hill, passed away, and he will be missed. I want to do a little on this day in history. Today on July the 31st. Is this the last day of July, really?
Yep.
Yes.
My goodness, where is this year going? It's
well, careful how you ask
down,
that now.
Right down the drain again, like last year. Again. So it's going to be better in 2021. Not so much, I guess. So, yeah. Did you see someone put on talking about COVID variants and what's the one newest called one?
Delta.
Called? Delta. Someone put
it'll
up
get
this,
you there.
Free plug for Delta Airlines.
Someone put up this great meme of Elizabeth Olsen with both her sisters together, her twin sisters.
Twins.
And
They're
it had
older,
them together, and it
sisters.
said, hey, look, it's Scarlet Witch with her variants from Marvel. I'm like, yes, that makes sense. I got that.
But I was thinking about this today. Delta is kind of like coronavirus. Corona had bad publicity, but is there really bad publicity? I wonder if Delta will profit from
you're
this.
Right, because
Delta, psychologically,
even bad
in the back
stuff
of your mind,
gets your name out there, doesn't it?
You think Delta? Delta variant.
Because if people hate this show and talk about it, I'm like, well, they're still talking about it. If it's bad, does that really count? 1971, today on this day in history, July the 31st, Apollo 15 astronauts, they take a 6.5-hour electric car ride around the moon on this day.
Cruising.
I wonder if they went through a drive-through. 1981, 40 years ago, number one at the box office. Neither one of you will guess this, but do you want to take a stab at what was the number one movie on this day in history back in 1981? 1981. It was knocked out by something else, but it wasn't number one for long because it sank and flopped very badly. But it was number one on this day. Believe it or not.
Obviously, it's not Raiders.
It's not Raiders.
But Raiders would have been about this time.
It would have been. And we talked about Raiders, I think, a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Well, is it a comedy?
And I will tell
What
tell you this. Raiders reclaimed the number one spot later on. It came back and
Big
reclaimed
Chill?
it. Big Chill's a good guess. No, it's not the Big Chill.
What genre?
It's the genre of Edgar Rice Burroughs' character. believe it or not.
Tarzan.
Tarzan the Ape Man was number one.
With Bo Derek?
With Miles O'Keefe and Bo Derek was number one.
I never would have guessed that.
That's why it was only 1 week.
It flopped it was flopping around like a dead fish on the beach. Yeah.
But I watched it on cable after the fact, boy.
But on August the 2nd, today's August the 1st, but today is July the 31st. But on August the 2nd, guess what knocked it out of the number one spot?
Raiders.
No.
Really?
The re-release of The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh.
A re-release of an old Star Wars movie a year later knocked it out, which is understandable. It really is. They re-released Empire in 81.
I didn't realize they put it out the following summer.
Oh, they did. Well, in the old days, you don't remember this as a kid.
It.
But as a kid, I remember we didn't have home video, so we're like, hey, did you see this movie that came out, this big Empire Strikes Back? And some people would say, yeah, but I'll see it next year when it's re-released. That used to be a saying that we used to say back in the old days. Something will be re-released next year again. We'll see it then. That was a thing back then. It really was. I remember that. If it's a big movie, they re-release it.
The Dollar Cinema.
That's right. 1981, 40 years ago, The One That You Love by Air Supply was number one. Oh, boy.
They live here.
They do,
Atlanta,
you're right.
In the Atlanta area.
Cartersville? They're going to hear me?
1984, Lisa Gibbons' first appearance on Entertainment Tonight. Oh, Lisa Gibbons. She was easy on the eyes.
She was in RoboCop.
She was as a news reporter.
Right.
Rightfully so. And another movie premiere. We'll do the rest of this day in history when we come back from a break and get to birthdays and what national day it is. But one more. 1987, The Lost Boys premiered on this day, a vampire movie with Jason Patric, Jackie Gleason's grandson. Jason Patric. You know,
Roddy McDowell? No?
No, that's Fright Night. You're thinking about Fright Night.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I was testing you.
It's all the vampires. I had to clean
You
that
passed the test.
Okay, Pop. Now it's my turn. Okay, come on, Sam.
Sears has a home version of the pinball game you find in arcades and bowling alleys. So now you can have your own pinball machine right at home. New arcade pinball games from Sears. Not toy pinball, they're real pinball machines.
You're almost up to 18,000 now.
New arcade pinball. It's what you always wished you had at home. Sold only at Sears.
Dragon's Lair, the fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon. You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his way through the castle of a dark wizard who has infested it with treacherous monsters and obstacles. In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues against the awesome forces that oppose your efforts to reach the Dragon's Lair. Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
Stand by for action. Anything can happen in the next half hour.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here. Let's keep going with On This Day in History. We'll knock a few more out. Birthdays today. Ted Cassidy's birthday is today. He passed away in 1979. A lot of people don't know this, but Chance does. All the grunts and the growls from the Incredible Hulk, at least in the first season or so,
first two seasons,
Ted Cassidy did those. Then he was replaced by Charles Napier.
Right, and the narration, too. He did the opening narration.
David Banner, yeah. He had a great voice, too, by the way. Today is Barry Van Dyke's birthday. That's Dick Van Dyke's son, actor. He was from, he played in the Galactica 1980, the horrible Galactica sequel show. And he was born, I didn't know this, Barry Van Dyke was born in Atlanta. I did not know that. Here's something else I didn't know about an actor. Today, you just talked about Near Dark, the
Well, let's talk about it off air.
We talked about off air about Near Dark, a vampire movie that you really liked, which was great. Who was it directed by? Catherine Bigelow?
Catherine Bigelow.
Here's a James Cameron tie-in to birthdays. Today is Michael Bihn's birthday.
Hey,
Michael Biehn. Terminator, Aliens, Abyss, Tombstone. And I didn't know this, and being from Alabama, I should have known it. Michael Biehn was born in Anniston, Alabama, and I did not know that either. Mm-hmm. Did you know that back in the 80s, when Marvel was thinking about doing a Spider-Man movie, James Cameron was attached to it for a while and wanted to cast Michael Biehn as Peter Parker. I think it probably would have been good back there if he would have done it. But the whole legal thing with Spider-Man just was not going to be. And they're still in a fervor over Spider-Man.
But I also remember reading a lot that he said what the movie he wanted to make was not going to be able to be made yet.
No.
He just realized the technical challenges. He wasn't going to do silly wire acts and things. He wanted the technology to progress.
And that's the same thing that Stanley Kubrick said about AI. Stanley Kubrick wanted to make the movie AI, and he says, well, I can't really do this. And he gave it to Steven Spielberg and goes, you direct that someday. It would be really nice. And Spielberg, he did.
Do you remember the story behind
wow.
that? How eccentric Kubrick was with Spielberg?
Was it the fax machine?
Had a dedicated phone line in a closet. Had to promise nobody could get in there.
To Stanley Kubrick.
So and Steven would go by every now and then. Did Stan? Did I get a fax today
from Stanley Kubrick? Yeah, I mean,
isn't that crazy?
Isn't that crazy?
That's the only way he would share his thoughts and ideas.
He was very eccentric, but most eccentric people are geniuses. Mozart and all these people. And I consider Stanley Kubrick
or
a genius.
Most geniuses suffering mental health.
That's right. Just helps with their genius. Van Gogh. We were talking about Van Gogh too. To me, Stanley Kubrick's my favorite director of all time. So yeah, he was just great. You look like you were about to say something, and I can't tell. Your face was like. This one time. Today is Wesley Snipes' birthday. Actor. Passenger 57, Money Train, the Blade trilogy. And I know it's Snipes, but I like saying Snipes. It just sounds better. Wesley Snipes.
Always bet on black. Passenger 57.
That's right.
Snipe don't pay no taxes.
That's right. Yay, Wesley. Way to go. If I can get out of
that worked out well for you, didn't it?
No, it's terrible. Today is J.K. Rowling's birthday today.
Congratulations.
The author of Harry Potter. And it was amazing when I found out when she would write this thing, just working and on her spare time and stuff as just a regular old person working in Great Britain the way she did.
Rags to riches.
And look what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the Superman actors has a birthday today. Today's birthday is Dean Cain, actor from Lois and Clark, playing Clark Kent, Lois and Clark, Dean Cain's birthday. Today is National Avocado Day, which means for me it's Saturday because I don't like avocados very much. And people are like, I can't believe it. Mrs. BK loves them. I'm just not a big guacamole avocado fan. Did you ever hear the bit with George Carlin where he says the word avocado no, it was guacamole. He says the word guacamole is fun to say and it's cool, but it should be a word that you yell when you're in distress or something weird happens. You're like, ow, guacamole. He's like, it just fits,
Sounds like
instead of a curse word, just yell guacamole, and it's like, oh wow,
that's funny.
Happening. Today is National Raspberry Cake Day. I can get behind that one, and in front of it, and under it, and all over it,
and under it.
Yeah. And today is National Mutt Day. Today.
Yay!
What's the best kind of dog to get?
A mutt.
A mutt, because you may, and any kind of dog you can rescue. I don't care what it is a great idea. Go rescue a dog. As opposed to buying them from a puppy mill or a
don't
pet
do
store.
what people did last year. They couldn't go anywhere, so they went and adopted dogs.
Right.
It was great, and all of a sudden they're giving all the dogs back. Like, well, I didn't really want them. Now that I'm going back out and doing that's for life. You want to make sure you're ready to make a lifelong commitment.
So in other words, people were being irresponsible.
Yes, being stupid.
Yeah, don't do that.
Gets me angry.
Full-blooded dogs, I didn't know this till later in life. I didn't know this as a kid. Full-blooded, purebred dogs have more health issues.
They can.
Than a
and
mixture of mutts.
Even mental health issues.
Is that true about countries? Like if you're original French or original from Italy or whatever, but we're mutts in America, do we have less health issues? I don't know.
I don't think that's true.
So I don't know if that's true.
But I do think that if you breed within your own family, you got problems.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what royalty. That's why so many people went nuts in royalty.
I don't know what you're talking about. You looked at me.
Or Alabama.
You looked at me when you said that. I'm from Alabama. I don't know anything about that.
Look, I've seen your family tree.
I don't do that.
Very few branches.
It does not grow straight up. Don't say that.
No, there's still a couple.
Don't say that. That's not funny.
There's one or two.
That's not true. That's impossible.
Some of them then intertwine back together. I'm just trying to figure what that's supposed to mean on the family tree.
That's terrible. Well, Chance, whose birthday? I said it was you're going to talk about your segment coming up, but someone had a birthday. I think it was yesterday out of the Croft brothers.
Sid Croft.
It's Sid's
from
Croft's
Sid and Marty
birthday,
Croft.
From Sid and Marty Croft. I have, and Alan wasn't here last week. I bought this TV at a thrift store. And it's sitting behind us here in the studio. And for some reason, when I turn it on, whatever day it's on, it'll play the title sequence to whatever show, a show of the past that came out on the day that I turn it on. And I usually do it Saturdays because when I turn it on, it'll play a show from Saturday, which we grew up watching Saturday television. Let me turn it on. And it's going to have to warm up. Let me turn it on right now and see which one it's going to play today.
left behind. Take a trip with us today. We will lead you to a land of dreams. Broadcast some super shows. They will blow your mind away. When you join us, you'll know why we say it's just a crazy world where anything goes down, where most of what appears isn't true. So in this crazy world, we like to be downtown and laugh and laugh along with you. Super Show. The Croc Super Show. Hey, it's me, Captain Cool, and the Kongs. Super Chick, Turkey, Nashville, and Flatbush. And the howdiest show on earth. Raw Super Shows, starring Wonderbug.
Everyone else left town when flying saucers and strange creatures were first sighted.
I don't believe it. The kids encounter a man in trouble and face some pretty scary creatures from outer space.
With masks, those scary creatures from outer space with masks that really look like creatures from the Black Lagoon masks. It's what they kind of used on there. So a little Croft Super Show title sequence song there from ABC, Sid and Marty Krofft. Which was interesting about that show is it's filmed in Atlanta, mostly in Atlanta. Their concert section was filmed at the Omni, there in the Omni section. And the opening title sequence, if you can look at this, we did a story last week about Marvel locations that you can go see here in Atlanta if you're ever in the area, like the Hyatt downtown serving as the TVA in Loki. But the Croft Super Show opening sequence was filmed in Atlanta, and at the beginning they're walking toward downtown Atlanta on the road where they take that classic Walking Dead shot picture from
the
Walking
poster.
Dead.
Yeah,
from right toward the King Center is where that road is. You see Atlanta in the background in 1976. I'm like, the Peachtree Plaza Hotel is the only skyscraper.
Yeah, it's by the
the
Carter
whole
Center, yeah.
building. So it shows how Atlanta has grown. So
Remember
happy
Dr.
birthday.
Shrinker?
Dr. Shrinker.
Dr. Shrinker.
Yeah.
With Billy Barty.
Billy Barty. Oh, I remember Billy. That made me think of Billy Barty because Eric called last week and talked about how much I was in error and I was wrong. I was wrong about liking the Masters of the Universe movie with Frank Langella and Dolph Lundgren. I thought it was a great movie. It's very entertaining. Billy Barty plays Gwildor in that, the little wizard guy. So, and you can tell the way he talks. It's just his voice.
And did you mention the indoor theme park they had? At
The indoor
Omni
amusement park,
theme
yeah, and the
lasted
escalator
6
that
months
took you
as
up.
well.
Yeah, and it was you could ride
Giant
a ride.
pinball machine.
You could ride a ride called the Human. You were Human Pinball in Human Pinball Machine, and
I was there.
And I saw that as a kid growing up in Alabama. And never got to go, and I'm like, I'd love to go to that. And before I could ever get over here and go to it, it was gone.
I went when I was 5 years old. Yep.
Consider yourself lucky, and if you want to join a cool Facebook, not join, it's not a group, but like a Facebook page and keep up with it, there's a Facebook page called I Went to Sid and Marty Krofft in Atlanta. That's the name of the Facebook page. Go to it. They share they share photos. There's videos on YouTube of someone that actually took video of the place in the Omni back at the time. I was lucky though in the early '80s. My dad did take me ice skating when I was younger, and we went to see him. I think it was 1980. We went to the Omni when it still had the ice skating rink in Atlanta. So yeah, a little local stuff about Atlanta and stuff there, and Sid and Marty Krofft. Happy birthday, Mr. Krofft, out of both of them. You know what's funny is they were kind of the competition. They had live action stuff. They kind of competed with CBS's Filmation live action stuff. And I told you this week when we were talking that I was very proud of myself as a kid because, all kids had to choose from the longest time on Saturdays were just cartoons. And like, you're just watching cartoons. That was just cartoons. Well, when I started watching live action kids shows when I was a kid, I told my mom, hey, my shows have real people in them now, just like your shows that you watch.
It all started with H&R Puff and stuff in 1969 for Sid and Marty Krofft.
Yep. Then you came into the 70s because after Star Wars came out, all bets were off. CBS ran a Filmation show called Space Academy. Then Jason of Star Command. And you had and Michael Gray's a good friend of ours from Shazam. Captain Marvel and Shazam from Filmation was a great live action show. Isis, his spinoff show, the female,
she sure was pretty.
Female hero named Isis, which they crossed over in an episode and met each other too. So they were crossing the strings in the cinematic universe even back then on television. I forgot they crossed the streams on. I'd forgotten that Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, and Petticoat Junction were all in the same television world.
They were
because
all
they
on
kind of
CBS.
crossed over. Yeah. Because the Clampetts went to Hootersville once to see the Petticoat Junction.
But those shows were fun, man. They were low budget, like Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, but they were fun. With Deidre Hall and Judy Strange.
No, what's funny about Alan is he has a nice little story about the title sequence to Petticoat Junction. He liked watching it come on, didn't you, Alan?
Mm-hmm.
With the girls taking a bath in the water tower. Taking a bath.
Good one, Alan.
You're right, Alan. That's the town where it took place in. You're exactly right.
100% convinced those women were naked every time.
Were.
Like today's the day they're going to jump just a little too high.
They were.
Today's the day they're going to jump a little too high.
Because when they jump back down in the water to disappear out of sight, they pull their towel or their clothes back down with them over the side. So they got to put them on. Yeah,
super smoking.
So that's right. We didn't know it at the time. We were
left
just
it to the imagination, and boy, did I imagine.
Boy, we got great imaginations, don't we? I still do to this day.
I do.
It runs rampant.
You were never like Bobby Hill, questionable about your preferences.
That's right.
There was nothing to this day.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back.
It's the fishing invention of the century. There's never been anything like it. Popeil's Pocket Fisherman. Men, women, youngsters can cast almost like experts the very first time. Small enough to fit in glove compartment, backpack, any travel bag, or even in your pocket. And Pocket Fisherman's handle is its own mini tackle box. Flip up the special DuPont nylon rod and you're ready to fish anytime. Even catch big ones like this with heavy test line and your favorite lure and shock absorber. Pocket Fisherman is made with a smooth action Johnson spin casting reel filled with Trilene XL line, and boy does it catch fish. It's the perfect outfit for casting in tight spots. You can even hang it on your belt. Expert or amateur will love Popeil's Pocket Fisherman. It's rod, reel, line, bobber, hook, the whole thing. Yes, it's fishing fun for the whole family, and only $19.95. What a gift.
Hey, this Christmas party's getting a little too quiet. I think it's time we liven it up with my favorite Christmas gift, Mr. Microphone.
Hey, what's that?
Well, you set the dial on your FM radio and testing.
Hey, I'm on the radio.
These kids are having a fabulous time with Mr. Microphone, the cordless microphone that actually puts your voice on the radio. There are no attaching wires, so you're free to move around. Broadcast over any FM car radio.
Hey, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later.
You can broadcast in mono or with two or more radios in stereo. Yeah.
Professional entertainers use Mr. Microphone for rehearsing. And you can too.
Walgreens, Woolworth, Woolco, Osco, Venture, Webolts, Montgomery Ward.
Just got paid today. Got me a pocket full of change.
Well, I won't get paid till about Wednesday, but it's okay. I can play this song on Wednesday, and it would have about the same effect, too. That's another ZZ Top song. We love ZZ Top playing them today. Let's go over to Chance and find out it's time for Take a Chance Bartels and his freeze-frame snapshot. Take it away, Chance.
All right. Thank you, BK. It's time for my nostalgic news of the week. Happy birthday in heaven to an actor. I want to ask Alan if he knows who this is. Jeffrey Lewis. Jeffrey with a G.
I know who Jeffrey Lewis is.
No. I knew you would.
No,
okay.
I don't.
He's got a famous daughter actress.
That's
Juliette
part of my note. Oh, you gave it away.
Oh, I'm
You're
sorry.
too smart for the room.
I'll take it back and out of the podcast.
All right. Well, Jeffrey.
Wait, was he in? Wait a minute. Was he the guy from Salem's Lot?
Yes.
Okay, I know who he is.
Oh man, you guys are taking my script away from me.
No,
here.
but he remembered finally.
Happy birthday in heaven, actor Jeffrey Lewis. Jeffrey Bond Lewis was an American character actor. He appeared in more than 200 films and television shows. It was principally known for his film roles alongside Clint Eastwood and Robert Redford. He typically portrayed
Right
villains.
Turn, Clyde.
Right Turn.
And
that was Eastwood's
and
line.
a good role in Bronco Billy, yeah.
That's right. That's right. And he was born July 31st, 1935 in Plainfield, New Jersey, and he passed away April 7th, 2015 in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles, part of California. So, as you said, Lewis played...
Since when?
Say what?
Since when is that part of California?
Lewis played Clint Eastwood's wingman, Orville, in the Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can movies. And no, he wasn't the orangutan. He was his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, William Smith was in the latter film of that series, who recently died, and he played Jack Wilson, the fighter, in that movie.
Wasn't Jeffrey Lewis a regular in Polly Holliday's spinoff from Alice, Flo? He was in Flo.
Yes, he was.
I remember that. Yeah,
he was in Flo. I have that on DVD. That whole series, it lasted a whole season and a
Flo
half.
was funny. I thought it was good.
And also, Jeffrey Lewis was in Bronco Billy, a Clint Eastwood movie, as a rogue, and his character became a vampire, as Alan mentioned, in the Salem's Lot TV, based on a novel by Stephen King miniseries.
Directed by Tobe Hooper, which is a scary scene where he's sitting in the chair by the window and he's like, "Look at me." That's always with those
freaky,
eyes.
that makeup. Yes.
That movie was very scary.
Yeah, I was 8 years old at the time when that aired. Freaked me out. And as you mentioned, he is the dad of Juliette Lewis. And I met Juliette Lewis here in the Atlanta area at one of her punk rock concerts at Smith's Old Bar.
And I touched her fanny by mistake.
What? Anyway, Jeffrey Lewis, we remember you.
I don't think either Alan and I have
that
ever
means
touched
something different in
Juliet.
the UK, by the way. Just be aware of that.
Right. And today,
We've
July
never touched
31st, back in 1980, we lost Bobby Van, who was a singer and performer, and he was married to Elaine Joyce. So rest in peace, Bobby Van. He was really great. Born Robert Jack Stein. And some of you out there will know who Bobby Van is.
You know, the only reason I'm familiar with Elaine Joyce?
Game shows?
Match Game.
Match Game.
She was really great on the
And
Match Game.
Tattletales.
Yeah, and she was also in a Tobe Hooper film called Eaten Alive.
That's right.
Was a very small part of her in the beginning of that.
Okay, my old nostalgic word or expression of the week. He was never sick a day in his life. Really? Barry Allen, do you know anyone that never was sick a day in their life?
By the way, when you say Barry Allen, that's the Flash.
Right.
You said Barry Allen.
I know I said Barry and Allen. Barry Allen, whatever.
Did you say and? I don't think he said
no,
and.
the and was understood.
I thought it was implied. It was
Exactly.
implied.
But no, seriously.
It was the and symbol.
I've never had a day where I wasn't sick. Have you? Personally?
No,
I have been sick.
Of course.
Sick, yeah.
But what is that? I don't know where that expression comes from, but he was never sick a day in his life. I think it was from Daniel Boone or something.
And what about another one? He's as
urban
sick as a
legend.
dog. I'm like,
Sick
well, what
as a
does that
dog.
mean? A dog gets sick, but it's no more sicker than any other animal when it gets sick. I just don't get that.
I don't either.
Now, my rant of the week is the government-mandated weekly and monthly emergency broadcast system check. What I don't like is if you have a DVR, if you still have cable with a DVR, it interrupts every doggone channel. And it interrupts your recording if you're. And I don't know why they have to do it so frequently. Why they have to do a weekly and a monthly test. Anyway,
and it would interrupt us right now if we were on. It would come on automatically. And then they changed the tone of it, though. The tone signal's different. I think the little now it sounds like a. It sounds like a droid now or something.
That's right.
And you know, as a kid, it would always when they would play the emergency.
Got a Michael Winslow one in here.
Yeah, when they would play the emergency broadcast thing, it would scare me as a kid because I would think, "What's happening?" That's right. I mean, I didn't get it. It was scary. It was scary sounding.
My internet BS of the week is Facebook related. I was defending a friend on Facebook.
Oh, I hate this.
And a stranger, well, I'll be brief. A stranger called my friend an old fossil. And so I said, "You're just a troll loser." And so that got me a warning from Facebook for bullying. But yet the comment calling the guy, an ageist comment on my ad, calling the guy an old fossil remained. Oh, well. Yeah. Right, that's my internet BS of the week. Now, the nostalgic treat of the week.
It reminds me of a Star Wars line. Where did you dig up that old fossil?
That's probably the guy copied.
You want to hear something? The time we're living in, the UK just now, because of a woman who was a grandmother in the office, and someone made a comment like, "You're just a grandma," was able to sue for discrimination, even though she is a legitimate grandmother, but she didn't want to be called that at work.
Wow. Unreal.
That is the times we live in.
These are the times in which we live.
Crazy.
My nostalgic treat of the week, it's no longer, if you can believe it or not, they're two mints in one. That's certs. They were introduced to the public in 1956, but get this, in 2018, they were classified as dangerous.
Certs was dangerous?
Because of
Retsin.
Because of the Retsin?
Yeah. Did you know that Congress banned Certs from being sold in 2018, and it was discontinued possibly for having partially hydrogenized cottonseed oil, which is not allowed as an ingredient in food sold in the USA since then.
Really?
They've been around since 1956.
All right, I'm going to act stupid here. What's wrong with Retsin?
It's
cottonseed oil.
It's cottonseed oil.
What's it supposed to do to me?
I don't know. Turn you into a ball. Oh, wait, you've had some. I'm kidding.
I love Certs,
Is someone going to
No,
Remember the fruit certs?
I
like the fruit certs and the peppermint certs. Anyway, I love friggin' certs. Anyway, now shall we play a quick game? It's time for taglines.
Play a game.
We've got restaurant chain taglines. Now, we did fast food before. These are sit-down restaurants. And I'll be quick with this. Number one, the world's greatest hamburgers.
Wendy's.
No, because you said it's a sit-down.
It's sit-down.
Oh, it's a sit-down. Fuddruckers.
Fuddruckers. Ding, 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 ding. Founded by Phil Romano in 1979 in San Antonio, Texas.
That's not true. They weren't the world's best, but that's okay. It's all subjective.
Well, I always have to pat down the burger because there'd be so much grease. I'd get napkins, and they'd have paper towels. I'd pat it down. It's so greasy.
But that's what made it
delicious.
taste good.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Number 2, come hungry, leave happy. Easy.
Come hungry, leave happy. I can see it in my head.
It
what
sounds
that is.
familiar.
We're running out of time, so
no, you're okay. Give us a clue.
A-frame. A-frame design in the
Arby's?
restaurant.
No.
A-frame.
Sizzler?
IHOP.
Oh, IHOP. Okay.
They have some that are A-frame. They were founded in 1958 in Los Angeles, California by Al Lepin and Jerry Lepin and Albert Callis. And there's 1841 locations in America and in the Middle East and South Asia.
Located in California.
Okay. Number 3, fun, fresh, flavorful.
Fun, fresh, flavorful.
Give me a hint. Baby back, baby. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Where is that place?
It's Chili's.
Chili's.
See, the problem is I don't go out to eat anymore.
And I was going through TGI Fridays, all of them that are just alike. Yeah,
Founded by Larry Levine in March 13th, 1975, in a converted postal station in Greenville Avenue, Old Vickery Meadows area of Dallas, Texas. Number 4,
so far.
Food with integrity.
Food with integrity.
I'll give you a hint.
Cannot think
Chipotle. More like food with something extra.
What was the hint?
Because there was an outbreak.
Oh, there was?
Yeah, you didn't know about that?
No, I don't. How would you?
People got very ill from Chipotle. Look it up, folks. It happened several times, so be careful. Founded July 13th, 1993 in Denver, Colorado by Steve Ellis. Number 5, some people call it a sizzle. We think of it as an anthem.
Sizzler?
It's expensive.
Sizzler?
No, expensive steak.
Ruth Chris.
Ruth Chris, founded in 1965 in New Orleans, Louisiana. So I'll have to wrap it up in the next.
You got 30 seconds.
Okay,
keep going.
Good food fast.
Good food fast. That's a fast.
They never advertise.
Po' Boys.
Waffle House. Like I said, they never advertise, and they have over 2,100 locations in 25 states in the United States of America.
Isn't that
most in the South?
Dairy Queen, Good Eats, Cool Treats.
That's it. That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Yeah.
How come you cook so many vegetables, Mom?
Well, someday I see a tall young man with broad shoulders.
Me?
You. And I do everything I can now to help you get there. Good food, rest, exercise, and also Chalk's vitamins with iron.
Iron?
Because you're growing, you need as much iron as your father. And these help make sure you get it.
I like Chalks. And you, Mom?
Chalks and Chalks Bugs Bunny with iron.
Tony.
Mama.
You look hungry. Come start your good breakfast with Kellogg's Sugar Frosted Flakes cereal. The secret frosting makes it extra crunchy, extra delicious.
I know. Flakes of corn with just the right amount of frosting for kids and adults.
How did I teach you to say it?
It's great.
You may be Mr. Breakfast to the rest of the world, but you know what you are to me.
Your widow, Tony.
I'm so proud of him. Sit up straight.
You know, the gill straps aren't really moving. They're being robbed. These crooks know the gill straps are out of town, so they're trying to move the gill straps permanently. They figure they look like movers, they act like movers, so who's gonna know? The Joneses. They know.
Dad, aren't the gill straps in Toledo?
I think they're being robbed. Should we call the police? Call the police. See, the Joneses know. If they don't tell the cops now, the gill straps will have to tell them later.
Hello, this is Harry.
Meanwhile, these fellas are eating lunch, about a block away.
21.
Hey, hot pastrami. That looks very good.
35 inch Roswell.
10-4.
Take it easy, huh?
How about that? Know what it takes to stop a crime? Your help and your neighbors. Find out more. Write to Box 6600 Rockville, Maryland, and help take a bite out of crime.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
And now back to the guy who can actually walk and chew gum at the same time. It's BK on the air.
You know what happened to me this week? I was actually in a grocery store, and I was in line. I don't know if this ever happened to you guys, but I had it. This lady was in front of me, and she's buying these groceries. She had a whole bunch of groceries, and I think her bill wind up being, I was looking at it, I'm like, man, she's got a load of stuff there. she got it ranged up, and the lady's like, that'd be $230. I'm like, that's a lot of groceries. I'm thinking that's a lot of groceries. And the lady looked at, and she's a nice old lady. She looked like she's been through the ringer. And she looked up, and she's like, oh no, I don't have any money in my checkbook. I left it at home. I'm like, I felt so bad. I mean, but it was $230 worth of groceries. So I did what any respectable person would. I helped her out. I mean, was that the wrong thing to do? It took a while, but I helped her put all that stuff back. I put it all back. I mean, what else was somebody supposed to do? But that. Did you guys hear the story about Scarlett Johansson this week?
Oh, yeah.
Marvel?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't hear it?
I missed it. I must have somehow.
Scarlett Johansson files a lawsuit over Black Widow streaming on Disney+.
Breach of contract.
And I'm with her on this. She's suing Disney on its Streaming Plus platform. The Marvel star, 36, she filed a lawsuit Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court alleging that Disney breached their contract when the media company simultaneously released the superhero film on both Disney Plus for a $30 fee and in theaters at the same time. Johansson says that the suit that Disney's Marvel Entertainment, that her contract guaranteed exclusive theatrical release of the film, and a large part of her salary hinged on the film having successful ticket sales at the theater. Quote, Disney initially induced Marvel's breach of the agreement without justification in order to prevent Ms. Johnson from realizing the full benefit of her bargain with Marvel, unquote, the suit said, according to the Wall Street Journal. Disney released the movie on Disney Plus, as we know, because of the pandemic, which caused theaters to limit in-person capacity. Not so much anymore. Quote, this will surely not be the last case where Hollywood talent stands up to Disney and makes it clear that whatever the company may pretend, it has a legal obligation to honor its contracts, said John Berleski, an attorney for Scarlett Johansson. A Disney spokesperson told Fox Business that the court filing has, quote, no merit whatsoever. Now, I know it was because of COVID, girl. But what did I say? You and I are both saying release. You and I are saying it for different reasons, but we're glad that she's kind of on board with that. Release the dang movies in the theater first. You can stream it later because you're kind of, I guess, cutting the throats of the actors with their profit deals, but you're also cutting the throat of the poor theater manager owner that's sitting there hoping that, and the theater employees too, that are hoping people will come to the theater. Of course, people are going to sit home and watch it streaming. A lot of them are going to do that, and that's going to
do
take
that
money
after
away.
The fact. Like we had to wait for it to hit cable. We had to wait months. Okay, I understand you have to make concessions because of COVID.
Right,
I get it. But
not so much anymore now.
Don't do it at the same time.
Right. I don't understand. I know
that
the
movie release.
I know they want to make money, but I don't see anything wrong with releasing it and streaming it later. I mean, just weeks later.
If you're going to do that, which is, I get it, then you need to have, and maybe on her side, and maybe more agents are going to be paying attention, say, oh, guess what? Box office receipts also counts the premium you have to pay if you're going to watch it at home.
Exactly.
Because it isn't just streaming for your regular. You have to pay extra. So why don't those count towards your box office receipts?
Is she getting a cut of that? That's the question.
They count
and apparently not. Or
they
she
count
will be
because they didn't restructure the contract for cable and other mediums. Had her agent, and I think more agents are probably going to start doing that, say, hey, I get a cut of whatever the box office, and if there's a premium that's actually charged for a stream.
And when they're recording how much the movie made, they're including that revenue as well now, so it's counted.
I don't think they are.
No, they are. When the last two come out, it said it gave at least the one I saw, when it reported the Black Widow's opening weekend and the week's take the week later, the total they said was this much, and in parentheses it says including streaming.
Then it's not making a lot of money. It should be making a lot more. That's why I thought it was less at the box office.
But it would be making even more, I think, if it was in the theater only. That's what I'm saying. It was just theater only and not streaming. Just
that
wait.
Doesn't make sense. Because I mean, the
just wait.
Ticket price is $30 on the stream.
Right.
To rent it.
Right.
So if they're including that, that's a lot of money that should be added. That's what I'm saying. That should be more than that at the box office.
Well, think about this. You could have 10 people watching at home. And at the theater, it's per head.
Right, that's why they charge $30. I get that.
And we're complaining for a different reason, because with us, we're not the actors in the film and the money-wise. We're complaining because we want to go and have the theater experience seeing it, and that's where we want to watch it, because that's where it's meant to be seen.
And the Marvel movies especially are meant for the big screen.
Yeah, and Black Widow is a big movie, so it needs to be seen there. Another actress has joined in is doing another lawsuit against, is it Disney that Emma Stone's doing? Yeah, because it's for Cruella, right?
Yes, Emma Stone.
Emma Stone is doing the same thing. And I'm like, well, good for them, because at least if that gets that thing taken care of and make streaming.
It's going to set a precedent.
Come along later. Then I'm all
forward, they'll have concessions with the contracts.
I'm all for it then.
But they're the only two coming forward. There's been other movies that have gone straight to stream and theater at the same time.
But will this affect their careers? They could be blacklisted.
Nah, I doubt it.
But of course, they've made their money. They've had successful careers. But Emma Stone's still on the young side.
I mean, I don't know that maybe blacklisted with maybe Disney, but because that's who her suit's against.
That's a powerful entity.
But she's kind of done with Black Widow anyway because her character's dead, so I don't think she's worried about that anymore.
But she didn't die in Black Widow. That's a prequel, folks. She died in Endgame.
That's true.
For those that don't know.
That's very true.
For those of you just
watch Endgame first.
A friend of mine, I had this discussion with him, and I go, well, she had nothing to lose suing because her character's dead. He goes, oh, spoiler alert, I haven't seen Black Widow yet. I said, dude, it happened in Endgame.
If a movie comes out 20 years ago, I don't care about spoiling people anymore. Actually, now I think what's our rule now on spoiling things? It's a couple of weeks now. We'll talk about it.
We said 1 month, and then we probably even pulled that back. But yeah,
that's true.
Like if you haven't seen it inside of a month,
come on, yeah. If people tell me you didn't know Spock died in Wrath of Khan, I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to spoil that for you.
Actually, it was Kirk, but never mind.
What?
He's
you trying to change? Are you changing it?
Depends what timeline you're on.
That's in another movie called Generations, a crappy movie where Kirk died. Well, and somebody else passed away this week. We're talking about
died in the reboot.
Oh, well.
To bring him back from the dead.
That's what he was talking about.
Oh, I was talking about Generations. Kirk did really die.
Right, yeah, but that was...
But, yeah. Now we're getting all confused.
So now who's Kirk?
I don't know. I have no idea. Will he be introduced on the new show?
Christopher Pine.
Christopher Pine.
Christopher.
Somebody else passed away along with Dusty Hill from ZZ Top this week. Ron Popeil, the infomercial icon. He was 86 when he passed away. On Wednesday morning is when he passed away. Popeil was best known for the catchphrase, "Set it and forget it," which he used to sell Showtime rotisserie. The product reportedly grossed over $1 billion, blowing past other sales records, including all those from QVC, the shopping network. The inventor got his start in a humble background of selling kitchen products in Chicago before his sales pitches quickly became a must-see live entertainment that gathered audiences in the hundreds who would marvel at his sales shows in the marquee booth at Woolworth's flagship store there in Chicago. In 1959, Popeil transitioned to television. This is 59. I didn't know it was that long ago.
Wow.
And made his first infomercial in 1959 for the Chop-O-Matic. It's called the Chop-O-Matic. After becoming a mainstay on late night television, Popeil's star began to rise, and he appeared in a number of television shows, often playing himself in small cameo roles. He also appeared on talk shows like The Martin Short Show, Late Night with Conan O'Brien. He also served as a judge on 2001's Iron Chef USA Showdown in Las Vegas. Now, Saturday Night Live, you remember Dan Aykroyd from Saturday Night Live, who also played Popeil in a 1976 episode of the popular sketch comedy series where he would talk like the FedEx guys, like, "It's slices, it's dices." The only way Dan Aykroyd could do it, parodying him on there. Now, according to the release, Popeil garnered more viewers and more hours of American television than any other celebrity or TV personality. Hours of television, technically, yes. Outside of Set It and Forget It, he was also known for frequently using such catchphrases as, "But wait, there's more." He was the guy that started that. Less shipping.
Those were his last words.
Yep. And less shipping and handling. He come up with that phrase, too. You'll get it for $19.95. Less shipping and handling. His innovations have been archived by the Smithsonian Institute. Here's some of the products. You may remember these. Ronco, Popeil's Pocket Fisherman. Mr. Microphone, which Chance has a Mr. Microphone. Hair in a can.
I need that.
Spray on hair.
I'm losing it in the back of my head. I need that hair in a can.
The Inside the Eggshell Scrambler.
I
you
remember
can stick inside the eggs and scramble the eggs inside the shell.
But all this stuff worked, dude.
Yeah, I mean they worked.
This was not garbage. It was not crap.
But yeah, it was great. And what a guy! Again, he was a legend for that. I mean that's how everyone will remember him. Outside of work, he also enjoyed fishing, skiing, sailing, and more. I can safely say
worth $200 million when he passed.
Then I have never ever owned anything from them. I've never bought anything from them. My mom has, but I've never, and it's not because I don't know why. I didn't hate it or anything. I just never, I never ordered one Ron Popeil, Ronco, anything. Nope. I did,
Mr. Microphone. But...
Do you still have it?
No.
The Mr. Microphone?
No.
Did it work on FM or AM?
FM frequency.
FM.
Yeah. So you could really
low, like 88.1 or somewhere on
the first karaoke machine.
Right. I still think the Mr. Microphone signal is stronger than our AM signal here. Anyway, that's beside the point. So
hey, we were talking about comic book offline. It was kind of like the segue into comic book gimmicks, like the sea monkeys and the X-ray glasses.
Yeah, the things you could order that were disappointing.
You could order what I thought was a working laser gun for $8.99. I begged my dad, let me order the working laser gun. He goes, Chance, it's a scam. No, you may not order that. This is when I was 7 years old. But anyway, that was when Star Wars came out, and I really wanted that working laser gun.
I remember that. I was stopped from ordering the hovercraft.
X-ray goggles.
The hovercraft.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a little thing that said, here's authentic plans for a craft that you can float around on. And it showed 3 giant discs with 3 pieces of wood connecting a chair. And it says, there's the picture of it. I could order that and be able to float around. And it's like, you're not ordering that. Are you crazy? You big dummy. You're not ordering that off. You're not spending my hard-earned money on stuff like that. So, yeah, I believed it. I mean, as a kid, I believed it would float.
They wouldn't
print eyes. It's fraud.
I believe the X-ray specs. I thought you could see through things.
See ladies' blouses, see right through them?
No, they're bones. Thank you very much. It's for skeletons. It's not for seeing anything else.
Hey, these scam artists still go along. They do. They just do it in different areas, but yeah.
But I was mad. I did. Now, this was not Ron Popeil. I did get the sea monkeys. I did get them because, and I was so mad as a kid. I'm like, these little sea monkeys, they're not playing at the park. They're not walking with their parents to school and living in a castle. They're not walking around with like eyes and heads and little 3 dots on the top of her head with look like crowns. They're not. They look like little teeny tiny shrimp things. Yeah, just floating around.
I wonder why that is.
Remember the rocks that grew? The colored rocks?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The beautiful little multicolored rock things.
Yeah.
They were rainbow. We could have sued for that because it's a total lie, on the sea monkeys.
On a personal note, last thing I want to say is God bless Sandy Sable, who passed away a week ago today.
Gotcha.
Love ya.
Gotcha. Rest in peace. Speaking on there, thanks, guys. We'll be back next week. Catch us on the podcast, BK Escape Pod.
Petticoat Junction. This has been a Filmways presentation.